never identified with even being American, even though I'm born here.
Well, do you happen to have a driver's license or a state-issued ID? Then I'm afraid that you already are identifying yourself as an American. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
At the inception of this country, it was based off of oppression and murder and colonization and rape.
Yes. How fondly I remember civics class when we learned of the Revolutionary War and the Constitution, and how the founding principles of America were oppression, murder, colonization, and rape. Not freedom of speech or freedom of religion, and all of those other things that had been denied Americans under British rule. No, America was founded on oppression, not liberty. Got it.
And so we are rotten at our core.
We? Does that include you? Because you are an American as well, you know. The fact that you can openly criticize and lambast the country you live in is a privilege granted you by being an American. But, right, tell us how we're all rotten to the core, because it is your right to say so.
I would imagine that the significance of July 4th in this country is to celebrate independence and becoming free from Britain and patriotism.
This year, I haven't even thought about celebrating 4th of July, honestly. It's not even in my mind.
Well, it means different things to different people. Probably means something entirely different to an active member of the military than it does to a civilian. Or not. It's entirely up to every individual as to how, or whether, they decide to celebrate the holiday at all. You're free to do as you please in that regard.
As a black man, I wasn't considered a citizen on July 4th, 1776.
Sure, back in 1776, 241 years ago, you would not have been considered on equal footing with a white man. But it is not 1776. And all of the people that crafted and enforced such laws against people who look like you are long, long dead. You're not holding anyone to account today for things that happened 241 years ago to people you've never known, are you?
So how can I consider that day as a day of freedom?
Well, tell me about the Constitution, the basis upon which our society was founded. Tell me about the First Amendment. Tell me about the 13th Amendment. Tell me about all of the people that gave their lives in the lead-up to emancipation. Tell me about an imperfect nation, as all are, that has evolved over 241 years on the basis of its independence from British rule to arrive at a place where you are broadcasting your thoughts and opinions to the entire planet without restriction. Taking just those few things into consideration, can you see why the day might represent freedom? The freedom that has allowed us to learn from our mistakes in order to form a more perfect union?
I think for a lot of white Americans, it's a time, to really celebrate this country. And I guess why wouldn't you if this country has celebrated you since the day you're born?
All white people are celebrated in this country from the moment that they are born. Non-white people being born in this country are never held in high regard. Got it.
I'm in the Army. I'm a U.S. soldier, so you're expected to want to, to be so patriotic that, that's automatically the first thing that comes to people's mind.
It's true. That is a stereotype. But it is not a rule. It is not a law. You are free to think and feel about the 4th of July however you want to.
It's hard to get behind the whole idea of the traditional patriotism because even though I'm an American, I'm a black American.
Patriotism doesn't apply to black Americans? Or black Americans cannot be patriotic? I'm not entirely sure what the message was there.
When people try to sanitize things by saying like we're all Americans, they're just showing their privilege by doing that.
Really? Stating that we are all Americans is an expression of privilege? A sentiment of unity and community is actually a declaration of separation and superiority. Got it.
Every day I wake up and it's a new hashtag, a new person, a black and brown person dying.
White people never die or are killed. There are no hashtags that refer to the deaths of white people. Got it.
A new law that affects me or people who look like me.
Name one. I'll wait.
And it's just even more annoying when they say, well, why are you even here? And it's like, you know why we here.
That's an interesting rejoinder. You rail against the country you live in as being inherently awful for people that look like you. You're then asked, why are you even here then? And your reply is, oh, you know why we're here. You are not a slave. You were not brought here in chains. Leaning on the tragedies and hardships of people you have never known to fuel your grievances is disingenuous, at best. You have every freedom to leave this country and live elsewhere in the world should you choose to do so. And you have that choice because you are an American.
And then I think about Native Americans and the subjugation of Native Americans and how meaning free for white Americans or British Americans or all of these people that were kicked out of England meant the death of all of these Native people. So I can't see freedom in that.
Name for me a nation on the planet Earth that has not experienced war or practiced colonization of some sort. Name for me a country in Africa that has not seen the cleansing of one tribe versus another. Tell me of a Native American tribe that did not engage in war with other tribes for dominance prior to the arrival of Europeans. These kind of terrors and injustices are a part of the human condition. They always have been, and they always will be. But what is it that helps to mitigate the worst of those things from happening in America today? Well, our laws, our Constitution, our freedoms paid for with both the saintliness and the sins of our past. That's just life. And life is a lot better today than it was then. In America.
When I think of freedom, I should be able to run around just like the people are running up these stairs right now without thinking of, oh, I'm running, it's late at night, and a cop thinks that I'm running because I just committed a crime or something of that nature. That's true freedom to me.
True freedom for you is running at night without worrying that a cop might think you're running from committing a crime. Well, you're free to live in constant paranoia if you want to, and you're free to assume to know what other people are thinking, rightly or wrongly. You are free to think those things, and believe those things if you want to.
For one of us to get free, we all have to get free.
Who is not free in this country? Who?
So if you can rest on your freedoms without the rest of us, at some point it's going to come for you too.
What? What is going to come for you too?
At some point you're going to be the one under attack and you're going to want somebody to stand for you, but there's going to be nobody standing here.
Under attack? From what? What in the world are you talking about? We are not living under some Gestapo force, rounding up dissenters left and right and suppressing resistance against the state. You're sitting in a public park speaking your mind to the entire planet. Who is not free?
Somebody I really love and respect said to me a while ago, Shani, the only reason why you get so angry is because you're already free.
Yes, you are already free.
You're a free person moving in an unfree society.
How could you be a free person if this is an unfree society? How?
And sometimes I wonder what it would be like if as black and brown people we understood that we are in fact already free free people moving in an unfree space.
This is a very binary notion. Either you are free or you are not. If you are not free, what is restraining you? If you are free, how can anything be restraining you? How?
To me, it's resistance to not acknowledge the day at all, to continue to fight, in this liberation movement for what freedom actually is.
Liberation movement. What freedom actually is. The freedom you have in an unfree society. The freedom to not acknowledge the 4th of July, an act which carries no legal consequences, by the way, is an act of resistance. Resistance against what? The enemies of freedom are often not people with guns and uniforms, but rather those who are unwilling to see reason, and instead choose to see injustice where there is none, and fight battles that have long since been won. On the 4th of July, feel free to dwell on the past. I will be considering just how far we have come. As always, thank you for watching.